a bridge as the World Trade Center towers were joined by the American corporate tower. Both are emblematic of democratic phenomena, one of the political democratic society, the other of the economic, presumptively democratic society. Both can survive meaningfully and effectively, as we know by the same critical standard, separation of powers and checks and balances. Both are characterized by the phenomenon of the delegation of enormous pools of power from the general population to hired hands, politicians on the one hand, management on the other, and only to the extent that these hired hands reciprocate with corresponding accountability that the institutions are capable of surviving and functioning meaningfully and effectively. We see what has happened in the years when the Constitution is contaminated by secret phenomena where, unbeknownst to the population, one branch or another takes hold and carries on without confirmation of the other branches. We know what happens in the corporate tower when management is able to carry on their own initiative, uncontrolled by those concentric rings of checks and balances that I've referred to and that are familiar to you. The concentric rings that surround management, the board of directors with their executive and compensation committees, with the independent auditors, supposedly independent auditors, surrounded by the regulatory agencies and the law and so on. When either of those towers fails to function consistent with the power without property, or the delegation of power, or the reciprocity of checks and balances, it goes awry. That tower is in jeopardy. And as we stand here at the moment, both towers are in jeopardy, and they're leaning against each other. And we are told that as we should, that we have to bolster both. And as a result of last week, we do have the opportunity, at least, to hope that something might yet happen, that we might yet reach the right answers and the right solution. And for that reason, as the bus rolls up here, looking forward anxiously to sharing these moments with you. Now, to move somewhat, and as I said, all of that which follows will be subsumed in that which I just said. There are aspects of it. But yet, to clear the slate, we ought to take notion of it and consistent with Judge Bolton said so effectively and so importantly. Some areas I might differ in one dimension or another, but we are heading towards the same. Remember, he used the phrase gatekeeper for the auditor. Yes, gatekeeper for the auditor. And this is where, in one or another of the sessions this week, we're supposed to be the gatekeeper. We are the gatekeeper. When we audited the American International Group as the gatekeeper, did we not see that this extraordinarily successful insurance company that had the lead position in insurance and property casualty throughout the world was engaging in this major venture of highly God knows how to describe it, the business of derivatives. What is the relationship between the two? Well, we were told that derivatives are insurance policies. Yes, they're insurance policies. They're insurance policies because an insurance policy is like a bookmaker. It's a bookie engagement where the bookie says, I know what the risks are. They're based on actuarial tables. They're based on the hurricanes that we anticipate, or droughts, or whatever it is, or the number of collisions. We have statistical tables going over 100 or 1,000 years, so we know how to fix the premiums. So we charge a premium, and when a loss occurs, and if we feel we have too great losses, we know what to do. We reinsure through a reinsurance company, and if it gets still too hefty, we go to Lloyd's, the reinsurer of last resort. So we know, and traditionally, you know, we have that business going on. And so, derivatives, as 60 Minutes may have said or didn't say, whether you saw it or not, it's the same thing. It's a bookie game. It's a bookie game, and I want to see how it's a bookie game. It's simple. Here's American Insurance Group. I'll simplify it, oversimplify it, oversimplify it. There's someone that said, you know, the bonds are going to go up. American Insurance Company says, give me $1 million premium, and I'll insure you against any loss if the bonds don't go up. So pay the premium of $1 million, and if the bonds go up, the American Insurance Company has to pay that client. But the American Insurance Group said, but in a way, we don't want to be exposed that way. Supposing the bonds go down, we don't want to be exposed. So they could find someone else who wants to bet that the bonds will go down $1 million. So they get paid premium, bonds to go down. So the American Insurance Group is risk-free because they've gotten premiums from two. One says it'll go down, go up, the other goes down. Now, bond goes up, American Insurance Group pays that. When it goes down, American Insurance Group calls the hedge fund that bet that it would go down. Sorry, we ain't got no money. We can't pay. We didn't put the collateral up. Sorry. So that's how it happened. Now, a bookie in whatever kind of a bookie established in some kind of a parlor downtown, if the client doesn't pay up, they know how to take care of those. AIG doesn't know how. But then, I come back to what Judge Sparkett said. I don't understand, and this I say very truthfully, as I said this morning to one of the classes. It's beyond my comprehension. Sarbanes-Oxley said to management, thou shalt maintain systems of internal control, and thou shalt also certify them, and also notarize, swear to them. And they demanded that the auditors certify the independent of the internal control. How could they possibly have certified that condition with all of that exposed liabilities to the notional values as a gatekeeper? What is their role?